This edition of One Play Wednesday is going to focus on Derrick Henry's 81-yard run against the Tampa Bay Bucks on Monday Night Football from a Twins I formation. I'm going to use the entire video as a platform to talk about the I formation, what Todd Monken is revealing and doing. It's rather simplistic to a certain degree, don't get me wrong, but I want to make an analogy for people in terms of the way that Todd Monken appears to be revealing plays over the course of the season. For some teams and offensive coordinators, I will say that each game is like a movie, whereby you have two or three plot lines that you're following that are maybe independent of each other. Think of those plot lines as a formation. And over the course of the game, those plot lines slash formations ebb and flow, and the offense coordinators adjust to what the defenses are running up against particular formations, and that allows their path to be kind of manipulated or moved in one direction or the other in terms of run, pass, personnel matchups, etc. Todd Monken's, I think, is a little different. I don't think it's a movie in each game. I think it's like a weekly series each week. So he'll reveal something new out of multiple formations each week. Now, there are other formations that are already pretty much totally installed. And what I mean by saying totally installed is they've already been revealed in terms of the entirety of the 6 or 7 plays that are run from that particular platform. Out of the I, which we didn't run a ton of in previous years, occasional usage. We've got a great running back there in Derrick Henry. Obviously, he's only 127 yards from 1,000 for the year already, which is insanity if you ask me. Todd Monken is, I think, manipulating defenses or trying to in terms of the direction of the play. So I'm going to talk about his 81-yard run, and then we'll also talk about Charlie Kolar's reception, I believe, on the first snap of the game. So independent of what Tampa Bay is actually doing here from a defensive standpoint, it's really difficult to figure out why the heck I am speeding up the film there, by the way, why the heck they're doing what they are down into the boundary. This is third quarter. I don't know why with an offset fullback and a tight end to that side, they are stemming the outside linebacker inside of the tight end's alignment, so into C gap. I mean, they're essentially giving us the corner. What that means is the tight end is able to get to the outside shoulder of the defensive end slash outside linebacker. Fullback able to work on the boundary side corner. Cool. They kept the free safety in the middle of the field to support. Well, it's Antoine Winfield, and I don't think he took great angles generally on Monday night. I have a very small sample size of his plays that I've really watched in detail, so I won't offer overall comment. But the point is, the force player to that side is left on an island. That's the corner. Why? Why is that? Well, I wonder if about what the Ravens have shown so far this year in terms of running the ball to the two receiver side. Now, this is a different formation than a couple that I'm going to show you. I would call this Twins I. Twins with an I backfield. Ricard is offset to the boundary. We know that Todd Monken likes to run the ball into the boundary, likes to attack to the boundary in general, and this is no different. In this case, Tampa Bay has really opened the door for us, and what I mean by open the door is look at the space that is between Ricard's kickout block and the offensive linemen and Kolar that are working to the boundary. Yeah, it's a great job by our offensive linemen, but Tampa Bay really opened it up for us and essentially let us in the front door, and Derrick Henry pretty much smashed the whole house down. Last look at this from an end zone angle, and then we'll move on to the touchdown that finishes the drive. Briefly, it's not out of the I formation. So offsetting the fullback over here, from a numerical standpoint, you've got 4 players on the left-hand side of the formation. Lamar in the center count for 1/2 each because they're on the midline, so that's 5. And then another half in Derrick Henry because he's on the midline as well. If you're unfamiliar with what that is, the midline is right here. Basically splits the formation from a right and left standpoint 50-50. And if you look at the players that the Bucks have to deal with it, you've got 4. Backside D tackle is not in a 0 or a shade, so we can't count him as half a man. The guy who has to get there is the backside inside linebacker in order for the numbers to work, and or the boundary side safety. Well, the boundary side safety is free. That's Winfield that I talked about earlier, number 1. And number 2, the backside inside linebacker gets closed off. This is over. This is something that, well, any running back is going to get yards here. Derrick Henry almost takes it to the house. Not to minimize his efforts or his potential. Obviously, he is a Hall of Fame level talent who is carrying this offense at times when Lamar is not. The point is Tampa Bay really, I think, put themselves in a horrible position to defend a boundary side run. I'm speculating here. It's possible because generally Todd Monken's been attacking to the two receiver side unless it's wing I. Keep that thought in mind for a little bit later. We're going to digress for a moment. This is the fourth down, 4th and 3. This makes it 34-10. I don't know about you. I was like, why are we doing this? What are we doing here? Why are we going for it on 4th and 3? But we knew what we were doing. Lamar perfectly executed pass play over the top of the defender, the safety that absolutely gets lost here. I think it's Whitehead. I did not think that the safeties for the Bucs played very well at all. Andrews wins by 5 yards, maybe 6.5, and Lamar had to navigate throwing it over the top of Aguilar and the defender who was guarding him. We'll watch it one more time from the All-22. The point of this video is to talk about the I formation, what Derrick Henry offers, how Todd Monken is utilizing that, and then I think revealing layers at a time each week. Again, like a mini series that's on television once a week. Particular plot lines are being revealed slowly, one game at a time. Essentially new concepts and new plays, if that analogy makes sense at all. So rewinding time a little bit, first play of the game here. I'm sorry, my apologies. This is the last play of the first quarter. So I got that way wrong. But we're in the I again with Ricard and Henry. 22 personnel because Likely's on the field with one receiver. We've been tossing to the side of Likely a lot. We've been tossing in this direction often in 2024, particularly early, and it's tremendously effective. On this particular play, we step Ricard away from the tight end. Little play action, and look at the time that Lamar is afforded. I mean, I don't care that there's only 3 routes being run out here. Someone's going to leak out late, usually. This is a perfect throw by Lamar, just barely over the outstretched arms of the outside linebacker, the same outside linebacker that stemmed inside of Kolar's alignment on the 81-yard run concept. Look at how much time he has and the wall that is built despite the 5-man rush. There's something to be said for Monken utilizing the I. Yeah, the Chiefs, I thought, attacked it in week 1, and they did a great job, if you ask me, of preventing us from running the football out of the I formation. I think it's going to be something that Monken reveals a little bit of each week, and hopefully the next time we see them in the playoffs, we are a little bit more prepared to be diverse from our I formation attack. So now, there was a point in time where we were, like I said, tossing the ball a lot to this side where Likely was. So we're leading with Ricard, whether it's Derrick Henry or Justice Hill, and then oftentimes we're pinning and pulling so the tackle is leading out in front. And we had not much in terms of our attack back to the tight end side. Well, think about the 2 plays that I've shown you already from the I. Derrick Henry's 81-yard run to the tight end side, Kolar to the boundary, and then the pass concept to Kolar, last play of the first quarter, to the tight end side, into the boundary. This one was the first one this year that I had seen attack that tight end nobody side. So if you're a defense preparing for our offensive attack, particularly out of the I, whether it's 21 personnel or 20 or 22, you want to keep a corner and a safety backside because of the threat of particular plays like this one and or the toss that hit big against the Bucs in the third quarter. The point is, early in the season, simplistic usage of the I. Slowly, one game at a time, maybe one play at a time, more things are being revealed. Same concept, twins I from 22 personnel. I would really call this slot I because Likely's close enough to the tackle for the tackle and him to be able to reach out and touch each other. That's what we would designate to our kids on defense, whether it's slot or twins. Are they close enough to be able to touch each other under normal circumstances in terms of arm length? This is, of course, Zay Flowers winning up top. I think it's against CTB, but I could be wrong, on a deep out concept. I think 23-yard gain with Likely sitting on the left hash, also wide open, and Henry slipping out into the flats. I think the I formation attack, there's really probably 3 different offenses in here. Our option attack with slash RPOs, which, we're not productive against the Bucs other than Lamar making magic happen and scrambling, obviously. Our under center I formation run game, and then our shotgun 11-12 personnel pass game, flex, spread stuff, if you will, where we're relying on Lamar to make quick decisions and get the ball out, number 1, or potentially scramble if there's pressure. This I formation attack, well, number 1, Tennessee utilized the I some while Henry was there, but oftentimes it was one back stuff. We're taking advantage of Ricard, obviously, as a lead blocker. This is a 51-yard run against the Bengals where Geno Stone makes the tackle. I believe we are in overtime now, so this is right before the game-winning field goal. So this is wing I, 22 personnel. Kolar likely on the field at the same time with Ricard and Henry. We're generally running to the side that has two receivers, but in this case, because of the receivers alignment, Aguilar, we're pinning down and trying to pull to the outside. You guys are kind of losing some of that in the frame. My apologies. Now you got him. This is clearly the one that Tylan Wallace misses the pin down on Hendrickson, and then he's going to veer to the outside and go get the corner. Him and Ricard basically end up exchanging roles post-snap because we had a missed block there. I'm sure Ricard has repped that and Wallace as well. Great hustle by those two guys. Attacking to the boundary, to the one receiver side, having plays that attack, let's do it this way, having plays that attack either side of the formation is a requirement. And early in the season, we didn't seem to have that. But as the weeks have gone on, we have begun to be a little bit more balanced from a directional standpoint. It takes advantage, obviously. Henry's difficult to tackle, his great vision, much better burst than people give him credit for his, quote, age. Having an amazing season so far for us. I mean, it's so obvious how big of a boost he's providing. Could other running backs succeed in our offense? Clearly, they could. We've had great rushing numbers on a yards per carry basis last 2, 3, 4 years. But this is insanity. I think 873 rushing yards through 7 games. And it's not like he's getting 30 carries a game in order to get that accomplished. What Monken is creating, what he's building, particularly out of the eye, is devastating. I'm hoping to do an I formation complete full-length video at some point this week. I don't know if it'll be a live stream. I've contemplated doing stuff on Twitter because apparently I'm able to do live stream stuff there. So let me know if you'd be interested in either of those ideas. So slot I now, the receiver is out to the edge, likely is close enough to the tackle where they could reach out and touch each other. And we're going to get everybody leading in this direction. Henry moving into the play side B gap. Ricard, and then Henry cutting it back off of that. Look at the wall that has been built. I like this I formation stuff. I think it allows us to survive with Falele in there at right guard. Not necessarily tighter splits, but more of an opportunity for him to be supported to the inside by the center and the outside by the tackle as well, whether it's a gap or a zone scheme. Hopefully I said that in a way that makes sense. This was the intent of the video, the toss play into the boundary. Who tosses it to the tight end nobody's side? Like, nobody does that, at least in my experience from the coaching level that I've been at. Generally, when you're going to toss it, it's going to be to the field. It's going to be to the two receiver side, where we have two receivers, in fact, here, because it's 21 personnel. And in this case, we have put on film for opposing defenses and defensive staffs, hey, look, we'll toss you to the boundary where there's only a tight end over there. We did actually offset Ricard, so there's a little bit of a tell there for that. I have to think that the next thing to be revealed, the next thing in the miniseries, next week's episode, essentially, is going to be, hey, let's offset Ricard to one side and then run the play action. So we get something accomplished down here. Maybe Henry sliding out into the flats with those guys running some type of pass concept. In any case, this is a little bit of a preview of what I'd like to accomplish or what I'd like to produce in terms of an I formation video. Might have to be on Patreon because continually my videos keep getting snagged by the NFL in terms of demonetization. So if you enjoyed this one, please let me know in the comments section so this one can grab some momentum early upon production, number one. Number two, if you think other Ravens fans or NFL fans in general would enjoy this look at Derrick Henry's 81-yard run and then the play action completion to Charlie Kolar late in the first quarter, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.